Hang on just a second. It's preparing. Like I said, it just takes a couple seconds here.
Do you record as well?
Yes, it'll be recording automatically. Okay, when I hit broadcast, here we go. Like I said, it just takes a couple seconds here. 3, 2, 1. And
do you record as well?
Yes, it'll be recording automatically. Okay, when I hit. Good afternoon from Connex Studios. Welcome to the latest installment of Connex Emerge Town Hall Series. Today we have another great panel and topic for you, but before we get started, there's a special aspect of today's program. Immediately following, we will be holding the Connex Women in Action Happy Hour. So if you would like to participate in that time of networking and discussion, just stick around and we will transition into that happy hour at the conclusion of the town hall. Now to get us started and to introduce our panelists and topic, please welcome our guest moderator, Chief Inspiration Officer of Lead Up for Women, Colleen Biggs.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Carrie, and welcome everyone. We have a great panel and topic today. And in addition, we have the Connex CEO, Bill Yannick, with us, and he's going to field any organizational related questions you may have. So let's get this ball rolling and let's meet our panelists and learn a little bit about each one of them. So ladies, I'm going to introduce you first, if you'll just wave, and then we will go ahead and circle back around. So first, let's meet Cindy Collette, Vice President of Sales and Marketing for iCheck Incorporated. She's also the treasurer of the Connex Foundation. Cindy, if you would just wave, please. Next, we have Jessica Fumo, the manager of facilities, Removery LLC. And next we have Corinne Dwyer, Senior Manager, Global Events and Connex. So Cindy, do you want to, and again, I'm Colleen Biggs. I'm the Chief Inspiration Officer for Lead Up for Women. So first, if you guys want to go ahead and just give us 2 minutes and tell us each about you. Cindy, you can go first.
Hi, thanks, Fair. Hello, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well. Cindy Collette with iCheck. iCheck is a hybrid model of both self-performing and contract facility services here in the Canadian market. We have been longtime members of PRISM and now Connex Association. And as mentioned, I have the great pleasure to sit on the Connex Foundation board, a fantastic organization that focuses on scholarships, apprenticeships, and education. So if you don't know about us, check us out. It's a great charity for the Connex Association to get behind. I've been with iCheck for 15 years. I have 2 fabulous children, a 34-year-old daughter and a 28-year-old son. No grandkids, but I do have a grandpuppy. That's
wonderful, Cindy. So great to meet you, and thank you so much. All right, Jessica, you're up next.
Hey, I'm Jessica Fumo. I'm with Removery LLC. We are the world's largest tattoo removal and fading company. Approaching my 1-year anniversary with Removery. When I'm not busy in the facilities world, I am trudging around with my 3 children, 11, 8, and 6, and they keep me busy. And my other passion here is with Connex, is with the Women in Action Committee. I'm really happy to be a part of such a wonderful committee that I hope you all stick around for after the town hall to be on the happy hour.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much for being here today. And Corinne Dwyer.
Hey everybody, I am Corinne Dwyer. I'm the Senior Manager of Global Events here at Connex, and I'm also the staff liaison for the young professional group that's up and coming and the Women in Action Committee. So we'll be having that happy hour right after the town hall, as you've all heard. So I hope you can all tune in for that. And just a little bit about me when I'm not working. I actually work remotely out of Austin, Texas. So I spend a lot of time outside, out on the river. I've got 2 cute little wolf dogs that I take hiking around. So it's a good time.
It's so nice to get to know each one of you. And again, for those of you that don't know who I am or why even I'm here, Jessica and I are really good friends, and we met several years ago. And I'm so honored to be able to be invited to be with the Connex group. And I empower women to be their badass self. so that they can be seen, expand their circle of influence, and attract more clients. And I also am married. I have 7 children and 11 grandchildren. That is exactly right. Everyone's jaw just dropped. It happens all the time. But they're awesome, and I miss them because we're in Chicago today, but I'm so thankful to be here because the fall weather is gorgeous, and so is the trees. I don't get to see this in Arizona because we only have dirt and cactus. So this is beautiful. All right, let's get to the meat of today. This is where you guys get to participate with us. So the main topic of this town hall is mentorships and Connex development of a new mentor program, so close to my heart. So a good way to start the discussion is I'm going to ask each one of you, have you ever had a mentor in your life? If so, how did that experience help you personally and or professionally? So Cindy, have you had a mentor? How did that help you?
Great question. I did. I've had lots of mentors over my career, but there was one gentleman. I was in my late 20s, and I had entered the Canadian Construction Association. So I always joke, it was me and 1,000 gentlemen. And there were a few ladies that worked for some various associations or administrative groups. And I had this gentleman by the name of Dave Watson, who led me and introduced me to all sorts of individuals, gave me some great advice about just listen and learn. And I took that to heart. And it was interesting. Within a few short years, I was that go-to person for a lot of the industry to find out information. So again, one of his key was get involved with associations, and I did that, and I learned so much just from liaising with different individuals and just exploring those opportunities. So yeah, fantastic mentor.
Great, thank you, Cindy. He sounds amazing. All right, so Jessica, have you had a mentor? How did that impact your life professionally or personally?
So I actually had my first mentor when I first started at Party City about 5 years ago, and it wasn't an official mentor, it was unofficial. His name was Mike Bernard, and many people in the industry probably have heard of him. And whether he meant to or not, he took me under his wing and he taught me things. He introduced me to Prism, his network. And so I just recently found out from you, Colleen, he was more of a sponsor for me than a mentor, which I never knew at the time. And then as I transitioned and things changed with my position and things of that nature, I found someone who I thought was a very powerful and inspiring woman that I knew immediately I wanted to ask her, will you be my mentor? I didn't know what to expect or what to do. And she was thrilled to have me as a mentee. And, she would send me articles about, how to speak stronger in front of a meeting, how to talk to executives. She would send me things, podcasts, anything that could help better myself. And it's to the point now where, I'm moving and I texted her, hey, what do you think for my front entryway furniture? Right. So I know I can go to her for just honest feedback. I may not like the feedback that she's giving, but I value that it could be constructive criticism. It could be hey, get your head out of the gutter. Get back in line here. And that's really what I value most from the mentorship that we have. And I think that's what a lot of people will benefit from with this new program that Connex is rolling out.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Jessica, because these are the notes that anyone listening today should be taking. Do you know somebody in your life, or are you looking for someone that can mentor you and inspire you, motivate you, educate you, like Jessica said, really help you grow as an individual and be there for you on a regular basis? That's a mentor, really help guide you in making those decisions. So thank you, Jessica, for sharing that today. All right, Corinne, you are on deck. Tell us about a mentor that you've had that has really helped you, or a sponsor that you've had that's really helped you personally or professionally.
So I'm like Jessica. I've been lucky enough to have 2 mentors kind of in a more unofficial capacity. And the best thing that I've gotten from them is just career advice. And they were able to put me in contact with a lot of people that have helped further my career. So one of my unofficial mentors actually put me in touch with Leanne at Connex, which was then Prism. And so now I'm here using her as another unofficial mentor. So it's been really nice to kind of have those people just in your life that are there to look out for you and help out your career gains and give you advice on how to conduct yourself professionally and get you where you need to go.
That's what I think a mentor does. A mentor is really great about connecting you with the right people that you need. And we talked a little bit about a sponsorship earlier, and we're going to be answering that question for all of you. So don't worry if you're wondering, like, wait, what's a sponsor? What's a mentor? We're going to be talking about that. I promise that's coming up. But I wanted to share quickly, I've also had an experience with an amazing mentor, and he was the CEO of the Little Gym International, which was a corporate company that I last worked for. And you know, when you're working with a mentor, I like to say, you want to make sure that you are okay with someone being extremely honest with you. Okay, so when you're asking for advice, be open to that criticism and that constructive feedback, because they're giving it to you to help you grow. That is the why they're giving it to you, not to hurt your self-esteem or attack you personally. They're there to help you grow. And if you're honest with them and you have that relationship, it's a chance for you to really go further in your career. And the CEO that I was working with, his name was Ruck Adams. I still talk with him today. He would say things to me when I walked out of a meeting. He would say, let me see you in my office real quick. And I'd walk in his office and, okay, hey, what's up? And he would say, don't be the first to talk in a meeting. Okay, that's it. And I would walk out of his office like, oh, I don't know what just happened there. And then I thought to myself at first, wait a minute, did he just, was I just in trouble or what happened? And I thought, you know what? He's giving me criticism. It's what I asked for. It's what I needed. And the next time I went in the meeting, I wasn't the first to talk and the meeting went better. So they're there to give you the advice so you can grow in your professional career. So I love it. And I'm so thankful that there are people out there that want to be mentors to help others, because that's what it's all about, lifting each other. Okay, we are moving into our general discussion. This is where you as participants get to participate in today's town hall. So as a general discussion on this topic, we encourage you to submit your questions for all of us here on the panel. And all you have to do is below in your bar, you're going to see a Q&A button. So when you see the Q&A button, all you do is click on it, type your question, and click submit. Now, if you would like a specific panelist to answer a question, so if you want Jessica to answer a specific question for you, put her name and then ask the question. Same with Cindy, same with myself, or Corinne. So either one of us, if you would like us to answer a specific question for you, please put our name in the question. If you don't really care who answers the question, just throw the question in there and we will try to get to as many questions as we can. So while you guys are filling up our Q&A with your questions, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and ask a couple of questions real quick to our panel. So let's go ahead and talk to Corinne. Let me ask you a quick question, Corinne. What is expected of a mentor? What would you say is expected of a mentor?
So I think the most important quality for a mentor to have that any mentee should expect is just a certain level of experience in not necessarily just the industry that you are working in, but it could be anywhere else. And so I think that what's expected of them is to be able to be kind of your cheerleader, help cheer you on, be enthusiastic about your career growth. Another is to just be a trusted counselor, so that they can be, your mentor can be someone that you come to with any of your problems. And like you were talking about, it's important to be very honest and open with feedback. And I think one of the most important things about a mentor-mentee relationship is just that level of transparency, to where you can come and talk to your mentor and say, hey, I'm having this problem with this specifically, and I'm open to any and all feedback you have to give me. And as a mentor, you have to be able to have kind of the skill set and the clout to be able to give them knowledge that's beneficial to them and give them that advice. So it's really important to be able to bestow some important advice on your mentee, and then also help them be more enthusiastic about their own career, pick them up when they're feeling down. If they have any issues that they're facing, like, hey, I want to be better at public speaking. Maybe like you guys were saying, you can share an article, you can share some additional experience. So those are what I would say are the most important mentor qualities that anybody should look for.
Absolutely. There's no I in team, right? We've said it 1,000 times. Like you got to be honest and ask for what you need and not be afraid to get some help from someone else to really motivate you along and inspire you. Jessica.
What I would like to add to that is I think you have to be open to not just hearing what you want to hear and getting out of your comfort zone a little bit. So that might be one of your goals with a mentor, is to say, I need to learn how to get out of my little bubble, whether, I'm stuck there, and, what do you think I could do to help me? And whether it is an article or just conversation based off experience, it's always super helpful.
So true, right? Absolutely. Okay, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to ask all the participants out there, if you haven't yet, please submit a question. We really want to hear from you. I'm going to go ahead and move over to Cindy. Cindy, what advice would you give a smart, driven college student about to enter the real world? Here we go. We're talking about the real world, which I don't even know if anyone knows what that is anymore, right? What's the real world? What advice should they ignore? Okay, so we always say, what advice should they get, but what advice should they ignore?
I'm a firm believer in, at the end of the day, you have to have a roof over your head and food on your table. But I'm a firm believer that if you follow your passions and if you are passionate about what you do, you're going to be successful regardless of what that is. And, talking about the mentor-mentee, it's funny. I've been doing this a long, long time, and I've mentored many individuals over my career. And as I'm getting a little older now, I'm starting to see that there are people that they would be the mentee who are now reversing the roles, and they are now mentoring me, particularly around new technology and new opportunities, new ways of doing things. So again, I think we continue to learn every day, and it is a give and take. So I think if you believe in what you believe, then follow that truth. I think always be cognizant of those people around you. Make sure that you listen and you're respectful. And I think that whatever that is, you'll find great success.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I say ignore the work hard. I feel like we need to work smart, right? You need to work smart. And how you work smart is get yourself a mentor, get yourself a sponsor, get people in your corner that are going to assist you in making some good decisions, and try not to get out there and just pound the pavement by yourself. But, get people in your corner. Go ahead, Cindy.
And try not to get too much in the weeds. I think that we, look at it big picture. I've always been a firm believer that, if you work smart, you don't need to work the 12 hours a day, not all the time. I mean, there's days that, just from a workload standpoint, we all have to take on that extra workload. But I think, again, look to your mentors, whether that, just being a colleague or someone that and say, how are you doing that? How do you manage your life and your work balance in such a productive manner? And don't be afraid to ask those questions. I think that's key. I think people are always a little afraid, I'm going to look silly. Ask the questions. There's no dumb answers, and there's no dumb questions out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I met a bookkeeper today that was just starting up a brand new business, and I introduced her to another bookkeeper that already has an established business. And I said, the two of you need to speak, because she's going to be able to teach you a lot of how you can get from 0 clients to 40 clients in no time. Why should you have to try and figure it out all on your own when she can help you with building your business, right? We need to be there to help and lift other people and not feel as if we're in competition with them. So Cindy, that was great advice.
Well, I think it goes back again to, we talk about my mentor, particularly, and the association. I think that, we are this collaborative organization that is very open to helping, whether it be our competition or fellow retailers. I think everybody is just very forthcoming and very open. So I would highly suggest that they continue doing that.
Absolutely. All right. So let me just look real quick. Okay, we have a question. I just wanted to go ahead and read that off. How do you ask someone to be your mentor? Or on the flip side, how do you ask someone if they'd like to be mentored? So those are the questions. Anyone would like to field that question, just let me know.
I think.
All right, Jessica, go ahead.
What I was just going to say is that I don't like, so the matchup piece of that, I think that's if you're doing it as a company type program or maybe Connex type program. If you're doing this personally, whether it's someone at work or, at home, whatever it is, I think you just have to be comfortable. I think that's got to be the first step. It's got to be someone that inspires you and that you're like, hey, like, that person stands out to me, whether it's because they're powerful, whether they can lead, and you just, you're like, wow, I want to lead like that. And I think that's how you have to navigate that piece of it. Whether for company-wide, I mean, maybe Colleen, you can give insight on how that would work, because I don't know how it works on the back end, but from the front end, when it's personal, I think it's just your relationship, and if you trust this person and you look up to that person.
Absolutely. It's if you admire someone and you see they're crushing it and you're like, how did you do that? How did you learn all that? I want to learn as much as you can learn. Me. Yeah, show me how to do it. Sometimes it's just confidence. It's just what you've seen they've been able to do, or how they approach something. You're like, how do you do that? How are you able to make that happen? And you go to them and really just have that conversation with them. So I hope we answered that question for you. I want to go ahead, and Tom K asked a question. The other one was anonymous. I didn't get to see who that was. And Tom, welcome. I'm so excited to have you on my all-female podcast. We're going to be having Tom on. I'm super excited. He said, greetings from Texas. Question, based on your experiences, what is the best way to match up mentors? We just talked about that. He said something a little bit different. So we talked about matching up and how you search for a mentor. But he said, does it make sense to establish create a profile to make sure you're matching people based on the right skill sets? So who would like to answer that question? I guess it's kind of like a dating match online, or what are we talking about here, Tom? So who would like to answer that? Go ahead, Corinne.
So I can speak to this just from more of a Connex mentorship standpoint. Yeah. What we are looking at doing is we right now are developing kind of a mentor and mentee application for the program. So you'll be able to answer in there if you have any specific preferences that you'd like for your mentor to have. If you have even I know in WIA, we talked about having maybe a gender preference, or if you have a preference based on exactly which field they're in. So for Connex, if they are a multi-site FM, or if they're a supplier, whichever one you feel you would get the most benefit out of being mentored by. And so we are also looking into some different technology programs, kind of like what Colleen said, where it's almost like a dating app kind of, or just something that's able to help us match those people together based on information that they've given us.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Anyone else want to comment on that? I just wanted to make sure I didn't cut anyone short. Okay, great. So thank you, Tom, for submitting that. So we have Ryan Beck. Is a question for the panel. So this is open to anyone. What is one of the most valuable lessons you learned from your mentor? So they're asking skill-wise, customer service skills or people skills. So give us a valuable lesson and a skill that you actually learned from a mentor. Go ahead, Cindy.
Again, I think it comes down to productivity. So we talked about work-life balance, and at the very beginning of my career, we talked about time management skills. And I think that is something that everybody struggles with, and particularly in this COVID environment when we're now working from home. A lot of people, this is new, and being able to shut the computer down at the end of the day and have a work-life balance is challenging. I think the preconception that people that worked from home typically didn't work that hard pre-COVID has now, everybody's sitting back and saying, wow, I'm at my computer at 6, 7 in the morning. I don't put it down till 7, 8 at night. And now they're trying to, how do I disengage? So early in my career, it was stressed the importance of time management. How do you manage your leads? How do you manage your new opportunities, your follow-ups? And again, showing my age a bit, we didn't have these great CRMs back then. It was in a book, and it was called Priority Management. I'll never forget it. But it really taught me the fundamentals of time management and making sure at the end of the day I get everything done, and hopefully in being able to have a little me time.
Yeah, that's great, Cindy. Go ahead, Jess.
So my first mentor, Mike, what he had taught me as a skill set was networking. So the networking and communication, I was in the the field at this point 9 years, and I had never even been to, I've heard of Prism, but, I never went to Prism. And he's like, why haven't you gone? You can meet, X, Y, and Z, and you maybe get to here and get to there. And so that's what really opened my eyes to the whole FM industry. Like, wow, there's this whole world out there in facility management that I've been working in for 9 years and had no idea. And so introducing me to Prism, now Connex, has opened so many other doors for me, to be in Women in Action and things of that nature. So the whole networking communication piece, that was the skill that my mentor really opened my eyes towards.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, Corinne, I'm going to ask you the same question since we're just going around. What skill did you really learn from a mentor? I think this is very important to speak about.
Yeah, so my current mentor, she's actually my current boss as well. She is very well known in the events industry. So one of the things that she really helped me with was getting involved in some other smaller groups within that industry that would put me just in front of more people, give me more experience from different sides of the business. And then one of my favorite skills that she taught me is how to be a little tougher and really work for things that you want. I know Bill's smiling and laughing about this because he knows exactly what I mean, but I have really wanted to progress in my career in the events industry. And so she's taught me a lot about, contracting with different properties and things like that to really make sure that you're taking care of your people and getting everything that you want.
That's great.
Thank you. How to get what I want.
That's so great. And I'll wrap that up by saying one of the best skills that my mentor ever taught me was to really help others find their greatness and bring their strengths out in them. So, a lot of times people we try to fit them into round holes in their square pegs, and we don't ever focus on what they're great at being a square peg. And really helping people bring those strengths out of them and bringing them forward is really what's going to help them find their best seat on the bus and really shine in their own right. And I think that was one of the most important things, was just helping others as a leader to bring those out in them. So I was very thankful for those moments that I had to work with him. All right, we have another question. As a mentor, can you speak to your personal style? Can you also speak to the gender divide of mentorships and or sponsorships? Jess spoke to having a male sponsor and a female mentor. Jess, did you find one better than another? So this question is directly for you.
No, I think the difference for me was when Mike took me under his wing, I never would have had the courage or confidence to ask to be a mentee to someone. Whereas I learned so much just from him that it opened my eyes to, hey, this is really what I want in someone to help guide me. And at that time, I had started, I was very involved now starting with Connex and Women in Action. And when I saw my female mentor, her name is Leslie, when I just saw her in action, I knew she inspired me to want to be like her. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be heard like she was heard in a meeting. And so I don't think there is any difference. It was just, my personal preference at this point and who I wanted to have mentor me. But either, to me, if they still are amazing.
Yeah, men and women have different strengths, hands down, period, right? And they both bring something amazing to the table that is desired and encouraged. And so there's so much that we can learn from men and women, whether you're a female or a male, having either one of those genders be a mentor or sponsor. And let's go ahead and jump to that question. And I'm going to go to Cindy and ask her this question because she so eloquently answered it the other day. And I loved the way she talked about it. So there may be some questions out there of, well, what's the difference between a sponsor and a mentor? So let's talk about that. And that might drum up a few more questions for some people to ask. So Cindy, if you'll answer that.
Great, thank you. So a mentor is really someone that provides you that emotional and that maybe intellectual support that you need within your career or within your personal life. It can be defined by many different ways, but on a sponsorship level, A sponsorship level is someone with, typically in an organization who has a level of authority or is an executive level that may take on that protege and mentor them through the hierarchy of an organization and provide them with guidance or opportunities to improve and advance their career.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. I'm going to throw a question out there and you guys let me know which one of you want to answer this. So is a mentee strictly a young professional or can us old folks jump in on there? So anyway, I said that a little fast, but let me can older millennials, boomers be a mentee? So meaning, does it have to be someone of an older generation mentoring someone of a younger generation, or can those be flipped? Yeah, Cindy, jump on in and then we'll get to Jessica.
Teach the old dog new tricks, they say, right? And COVID, again, you talk about challenges and always trying to find opportunities. And again, I've been relying heavily on the younger members of my team to kind of say, hey guys, what's new in technology out there? What is exciting? How do we engage our clients virtually? What do we need to support the team? So yeah, I definitely believe that, with experience and with age comes experience and maybe some hard lessons learned that we're able to provide to those younger people coming in the industry. But again, they're on the ball and they know what's new and what's exciting, and they're able to, through discussion like this, really be able to contribute to the overall solution. So yeah, I rely on a lot of the mentees numerous times every day.
Yeah, thank you, Cindy. Jessica.
I was pretty much going to say about this, the same that Cindy had said. I feel like, and I'll say millennials, even though technically on paper I'm a millennial, but I feel like the younger crowd comes in with this confidence that sometimes people, even like myself, I'm going on 16 years in the business, sometimes you might just get that, like you feel defeated or deflated in something, and they come in, I feel like, with a lot of energy. And, I don't think, there's anything wrong with flipping the switch and having a younger mentor versus an older one, because I think everyone has something to bring to the table. So it's a personal preference. What are you interested in? If you've been in the business for a long time and you have a lot of experience, you're not really looking for experience in a mentor. You're looking for that positive new outlook on things. And if it's new technology or just, energy, like, it can go either way.
Well, it's an affirmation. What they're doing has value, right? Mm-hmm. And gearing them to how they can express that idea.
Yeah. And I was just inspired to ask a question. So hopefully no one throws me out for this, but Bill, you're standing there and I'm looking at you and I'm like, you know what, as a CEO, I have to ask you the question. When you're looking at employees in the company and they're being sponsored and they have mentors and you're seeing that other executives are sponsoring or mentoring other employees in the company, how does that change the game when you see these employees start moving up in the company as far as the skills they're being taught? What is your thought on that?
Well, I think it kind of goes both ways with the leaders who act as mentors. That's certainly something that for them so from the being a mentor crowd, that's a great way. If you're a CEO, you see someone doing that to junior employees, it really breeds confidence in their leadership. And so, and that's that giving back, that they're not all selfish and they're willing to use their skills and help people move up. And then it's the same thing with lower level employees. If you see someone who is never seeking to be better or seeking out mentors, then that says a lot about whether they want to grow in their position. Unless they're learning to be meaner sometimes, like Corinne hinted at. Other than that, it's great. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so it goes both ways. So when I look at a leader being a mentor, that's an awesome thing to have and for a CEO to see. And especially at the lower levels, I certainly encourage our crew, if they're not seeking out mentors or seeking out the ability to become better in their job, then that's not a good sign of upward mobility, should we say.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for answering that. I know I put you on the spot, but I just felt really inspired to ask you that question. It was a beautiful answer. So thank you. And I just want to remind all the participants out there, there's about 30 some of you. So I know you're listening and we're waiting on your questions. So make sure you guys are dropping your questions in there. So this is your opportunity. Again, we just said you don't want to do this alone. So if you're searching for a mentor or sponsorship, ask your questions now so we can answer them for you. So let's get to our next question. In the last 5 years, what would you say is the new belief, behavior, or habit that has most improved your life that you have received from a mentor? So in the last 5 years, what belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life that you received from a mentor? Anyone? Cindy? I'll do all of you. We'll get to Corinne and then Jessica next. Go ahead, Cindy.
So, individual I used to work with for many years said to me, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. And there's never a truer as there is today, because as you said, no one person can be successful. And by surrounding yourself with people that have different opinions or different levels of expertise, collaboratively, you have a fantastic solution. And particularly when you're looking at not maybe the mentorship program, but a sponsorship program, right? Any high-level executive within an organization understands that there's a period when you are going to move on. So being able to sponsor those individuals and help build that succession plan is really key. So surround yourself with intelligent people.
That's perfect. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. They say, you know, if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? You want to be the dumbest one in the room. All right, Corinne, go ahead.
So I can kind of piggyback on something that Cindy said earlier, which is just the importance of a work-life balance. That's something that I didn't have at previous jobs, and coming into the one where I am now, I realized just how important it is just with your stress levels and your overall sanity. And especially, I've been working remotely since before COVID, so it's been about 1.5 years now. And I definitely see what people say about how you don't ever seem to turn off when you're working from home. You wake up, you walk, 20 feet to your office, and then you're there for hours and hours, and then you look up and it's 2 o'clock and you haven't eaten anything all day, and you haven't taken any time for yourself to just step away from your computer even, because before, when I was in the office, I had my coworkers that were like, oh, we're gonna go take a break, I'm heading out to lunch, and it would kind of remind you that, oh, it's time to do something like that. But now working from home all the time, it's a little bit different, and it's really important to know exactly when you need to just take some time and unplug. So that's something that I've learned just in the past 4 years, even at this job, just how important that is.
Yeah, wonderful nuggets of information. Thank you, Jessica.
So what I was, I'm not going to say taught, but reminded of was self-love, which made me open my eyes to I needed to take care of myself, and that's mentally, physically, personally, professionally. And with that came confidence. And that's all about, like, was to say it again, when I started with Prism, you know, that was a big, not a roadblock, but a big bump for me to get over and to, you know, meet all these new people. And I really, a lot of people kind of that know me know my story with weight loss and things like that. And it took that piece of time for me to be like, I need to love myself. I need to take care of myself. And that was something that my mentors, both of them, you know, not directly, but it was, you know, we talked about it and things like that, that opened my eyes to it. And, you know, I think once you, and this sounds so corny, but I feel like once you love yourself, everything kind of just falls into place. Like, you know, at Connex shows, like, people told me I was glowing, and I'm like, really? I feel healthy. I feel happy. I feel confident. And I think that's really important to have. And so having someone in your corner to remind you of that, you know, take that break, stop, you know, 12-hour days, like, care about yourself, love yourself, take care of yourself. And, you know, that's moved mountains for me.
Wow. Man, you guys have talked about some wonderful things, surrounding yourself with successful people, unplugging, self-love. You know, my biggest one my takeaway that I learned in the last several years was to not care what other people thought about me. And it was judgment. I used to take it personally, and it used to hurt me. And as you're climbing the corporate ladder and you're becoming very successful, there's like these naysayers and people that aren't in your corner. And it's hard to believe why someone wouldn't like you when you're successful and you're doing everything you're doing for the company, and the same people in the company don't like you. And, you know, what someone said to me, you know, it's really none of your business what they think, because it's only a reflection of how they feel about themselves. And us just remembering that it's not us, it's just a reflection of what other people feel about themselves, and knowing that, you know, just keep your course and keep moving forward, because it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. And so that was just a really great lesson that I learned. Okay, so I wanted to get into the next question. Oh, wait, I just saw one pop in the Q&A. Thank you, Stephanie, for participating today. Let me go ahead and read what Stephanie has to say. Colleen, can each of the ladies talk about how they schedule their meetings with their mentor? Is there a specific cadence you can recommend that has been successful for each of you? In addition, what are the expectations of the meeting? That's a really great question. Cindy, I'm going to go ahead and go to you first.
Fantastic. And again, I was just thinking this, so great question. You know, I think COVID, at least in the short term, has really provided some additional challenges for us, whether that be in a mentorship or in a sponsorship role. And I think that it's really important, if you agree to take on someone as an official mentor, you know, we all have our organic mentors in our life, but in an official capacity, I think it's really important that you sit down and you have a truthful discussion of what your goals are, whether they be from a personal level or from a career level. And, you know, I'm definitely one of those people that like to read a room. I like to be in the room and kind of feel the energy. So even after all this years, I struggle a bit with this whole virtual concept, because you can't, it's just, it lacks a certain depth, I think. But I would highly recommend just an informal, you know, coffee break, if you want to call it that. Get on a Zoom call, you know, outline what's your goals, how have you hit those targets, where do you need some assistance, and then just kind of formalize an action plan really to achieve those goals. And on the corporate side, from a sponsorship program, again, plugging in on those, any networking opportunities you have within your organization, whether it be social or from a business meeting, always make sure to put your camera on.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Cindy. Jessica, go ahead.
So for my official mentor, when we decided we were going to do this, what we did is we planned once a month to start for our cadence. We said, you know, once a month, we'll put it on the calendar now. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we reschedule. And then it only happened once, but we had planned for it. We called it like senior cut day. So it was probably a year into our mentorship, and we both took a day off of work. You know, we went to her house, we shared a couple drinks, and it was just it was nice. So it was my responsibility from the get-go, and I took that on because I did come to her and I said, hey, I would love, you know, for you to be my mentor. So it was up to me to, you know, put something on the calendar, and then she willingly would just, you know, I would say probably once a week, she would send me something, just, you know, whether it was an article, a podcast, a book, and so that was our cadence. That's how it worked.
Great. Thank you, Jessica. Corinne.
So my unofficial mentors that I've had, I have worked with them on kind of a more personal level as far as scheduling meetings with them. Obviously, with my mentor now, it is my boss, so we have regularly scheduled meetings regardless. But my previous mentor, it would be just kind of a text message that's like, hey, do you want to go and grab dinner or grab a drink, and we can just talk about things. And inevitably, we did talk about work and career goals and things like that. But it's also really important to build that personal relationship with them as well as a professional one, so that they really are able to get to know you and know what makes you tick and know what your struggles are, what your strengths are, any of your insecurities, and just what your best communication methods are. So it really just depends on how you're going about the mentor and mentee relationship. So for an official mentorship program, like what we're rolling out at Connex, we are going to have guidelines for all of the people participating in the program that will say, okay, you're supposed to meet with your mentor this many times out of a quarter, this many times a month. Here's some ideas of what you can talk about on your first meeting, your second meeting, your third meeting. And then from there, kind of just roll with it and learn, use the knowledge that you've gained about each person to kind of move your meetings forward. And then to Jessica's point, I think it's really important to have something that's very consistent. So like once a month, go ahead, get it on the books, and hopefully you can keep that schedule very consistent and maintained.
Yeah, I concur with that for sure. Hey, thanks for sharing that, Corinne, because I think it's important for everybody that's on the call to really know how it's going to be structured moving forward. So thank you so much for sharing that. And for myself, it was a 2-hour lunch once a month. We never missed it. And there were 2 subjects that we discussed at every meeting. And hey, you know, who would be sad about going out to lunch with the CEO once a month? Like I wasn't. It was really nice to be able to sit down with him. But it was more of, hey, what did you observe in the last time that we met that I could get some feedback on? And then he wanted me to bring to him, what was it that I was struggling with at the moment that I needed assistance on? And he never got involved in, you know, the details of telling me exactly what to do. What he would do is give me the tools that I could apply to assist me in something. So if I said I'm overworked and I don't have enough hours in the day, instead of him jumping in and going and talking with other executives and trying to free up my time, which is not what a mentor does or even a sponsor does, what he did was he said, why do you think that's happening? What's going on in your world? Are you taking on too much that you shouldn't be taking on? So he had me do like a little exercise where he had me put a sticky note on my desk that said, what am I keeping? What do I have to solve? And what am I giving back? And he'd have me put little tick marks. And then at the end of the week, I would see I was taking on too much that I was supposed to be delegating to other people. So he gave me the tools and empowered me. He didn't go try and fix anything for me. So I think that's another important point that we need to make. If they're in your organization, don't expect your mentor to fix things for you. Expect them to give you the tools for your toolbox so you have an arsenal of things to implement for you to be a better leader. Yeah, so that was really important. Go ahead, Cindy.
I think Jessica made a great point when she talked earlier about being true to yourself.
Yeah.
And I think for any of us that are looking on and considering being a mentor or a senior leader within the organization, I think it's really important that we don't try to impose our way of doing things, right? They have to be true to themselves. They have their way of communicating. We are just there to try to elevate that for them or to provide glide paths, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important. All right, so I'm looking to see if we have any more questions. All right, you guys, we have about 5 more minutes. If anyone out there would like to submit a question, please do. Just a reminder, at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a Q&A button. If you click on that, you can type in any question that you have, click submit, and then I'll read that on our end. And I'm just going to ask each one of you very quickly, why is a mentor program so important to you, Cindy?
I think that there's benefits on both ends. And I think for anyone that's new to an association or an organization, whether it be work or what we do here at Connex, I think it's, it can be a little bit intimidating when you first walk in the door. And again, I had a great mentor and he pushed me imagine me and 1,000 gentlemen. It was a little intimidating and it was heavy construction. I'll never forget it. I went to a road builders conference. And again, I came from an enterprise organization. So I show up at this conference in the middle of Northern Ontario in a pair of spikes and a short skirt to find out it's in a farmer's field with, and it was full of mud. And I looked at him, and again, you talk about mentorship. So maybe if it was a woman that was mentoring, they would have told me, hey, don't wear high heels and a skirt. But it's I think it's just critical. The people that you meet and the opportunities that it presents itself from a personal growth and also from your career, it's just invaluable.
I would say the other thing, it's not just from the personal growth in the career, but it's essential in business for any company to implement a mentor program, right? For the growth of the employees and for the executives to step in that leadership position. Corinne, why is it important to you?
So I think especially if you're going out to events like our conference, you walk in the door and there's all these people that already know each other. It's extremely daunting and nerve-wracking to walk in as a new person, regardless of whether you're a young professional, if you're maybe just new to the industry, because I know, like Cindy was saying, that COVID has kind of changed everybody's routine up. And so there's things that you can learn from younger people that you've been working with for a while that maybe just know more about technology or other practices than you do. But also with COVID and having so many people get laid off, there's a lot of people that are being forced to start completely new career paths in a field that they maybe have no experience in, even if they've been in the professional workforce for 20 years. So I think having just someone that you know you can rely on to help you navigate a new world that you're in is just a priceless thing. And anybody that knows me knows that I could talk to a brick wall and I don't have a problem coming up and striking up a conversation about anything with anyone. But even me going into an event where I didn't really know anybody, it was scary and just kind of like, okay, do I go over here? Do I go over here? I don't know who to talk to. I don't know what to do with my time. I don't know how to spend it most effectively. So I think it's really the most important thing is just to have someone that's able to help you open doors for yourself and not necessarily open doors for you.
Oh, I loved that. Thank you, Corinne. Jessica, go ahead.
I wanted to piggyback off the whole, going to the conference for the first time and walking in. So I'll call him my sponsor, my mentor, who's the one who introduced me to Prism. He's like, listen, this is your first conference. He went with me. He's like, you have to wear, and I worked for Party City at the time, first time. So you have to wear a Party City shirt. Yeah, I got you a Party City backpack. You got a Party City this. Like, he decked me out in everything Party City. So Colleen, to tell you, like, when you're a retailer going to the show, like, there's a lot of people to talk to. And so I had no idea what I was getting into. And what he had taught me was getting out of my comfort zone, network, go meet people. So I showed up the first day of the conference with all my Party City gear, and it was like everyone was just like, oh, Party City, Party City, Party City. And it just made me, I had no choice. I had no choice to be like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm just, it was just, that's really funny that you brought that up, because I just kind of got thrown into it, and, it really opened my eyes. And that's what's important to me in a mentorship program, is you have someone to help open your eyes to things that you're not used to seeing, or maybe you don't want to see it, or you close that up for a while. But that's what I find most important, is just opening your eyes, honesty, sincerity, and someone that's in your corner.
Yeah, it's crucial at every level, whether you're an executive or whether you're entry level, or whether you own your own business and are an entrepreneur like I am. I was in the corporate world and now I'm an entrepreneur, and I have coaches, I have mentors. It's crucial for us to be able to have the success in our businesses we're looking for. So I'm assuming that, Bill, you have a mentor in your world as well, and someone that you even speak to and look up to. And I wanted to turn the time over to you so you could talk to us about what a mentor has meant to you in your life, and then go ahead and update us on the state of the association.
Cool. Well, to wrap that up, well, first, thank you, Colleen. It's been a great panel discussion, and Cindy and Jessica and Corinne, awesome insights. And I don't know if I can top any of that. But what kept coming back to me, and I have to remind myself, even in my current role, is you have to be purposeful about your career. And if you just go along to get along, and you're not trying to improve or trying to strive, you're going to get, what is it? You do what you always do, you're going to get what you always got, something like along those lines. But you have to take those purposeful steps. And I know, as the CEO, I mentioned, I'm watching, and I know people. You see the people, and when you see it, people striving to become better. And over the years, I've had a number of mentors that have done just that. And probably the best piece of advice, well, one of them was, don't be the smartest person in the room. Well, thanks for stealing that, Cindy. I guess you're smart. Yes, I'm not. But the other thing is, you always look at the position you want to be, and then you emulate those behaviors, even down to the dress. You dress like that person. You act like you can't be a phony. But there are ways, and if you want to be the CEO, you look at how the CEO acts. If you want to be whatever. And so I think and it's not always easy to do. You mentioned some with peers. You're going to have peers that don't have your best interest at heart. And you need to be careful, because the people you surround yourself with, you want to be with the crew that's trying to rise up as well, and you'll have people backing you up. So to finish this up for the association, this is your State of the Association Minute, and we are surviving through COVID. This is probably our 4th town hall. We've had all sorts of virtual events, and certainly for the 30 or so that joined us today, and the bunch that are going to join us at Connex FM to watch it again, thank you for participating in this. It's enormously important to stay connected, even during these times when we can't travel. At each one of these town halls, we tried to announce something new, and today is no different. So at the first one, we did the Healthcare Council, and then we did the Technology Council, and then the Food and Beverage Council. And today, we're relaunching our Canada Council. And I know Cindy has a long and very helpful history in helping us with our Canadian operations, but it has been one that over the years we've worked on, and we have about 100 of our 1,000 members are in Canada, and we haven't forgot about them. And when we can travel, we'll be there. But we have 2 great co-chairs to relaunch this. Mike Bowman from LCBO and Noah Seidel with National Dispatch Services. So we have an FM and a supplier to co-chair this. And for starters, the Canada Council is going to have their home at connexfm.com. They're going to have their own community at our Communities Hub. They're going to have their own events throughout the year, and certainly events to continue on with the tradition of what our Canada members do at National Conference, and their own staff liaison, Leah Mahan, who's going to be the staff liaison at Connex, will be the person heading that up as well. So we're really excited about relaunching the Canada Council. And that's our last new council for this year. We can't keep doing these new councils, but hopefully with all these various councils and efforts, we can keep people connected. And I'll finish with this. We have, give or take, we tend to have about 1,000 member companies in Connex. About a third of them are retail, multi-site FM or facility management individuals, and about 700 supplier companies. But what we're trying to do is to help people to connect with peer groups or with interests just like them. So whether it's healthcare or technology, or you're in Canada or in your food and beverage, hopefully you can have the tools and resources that are more directed toward your efforts. So that's it for today's town hall. If you stand fast for about 4 minutes, there's a happy hour that's about to break out with our Women in Action, which is always a great, fun time. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our moderator who can do that launch. We'll see you in a few minutes at the happy hour. And thank you for joining us today, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Bill. Thank you, panelists. And we will, again, be starting into our Women in Action happy hour. So again, if you'll just stick around, we're going to do some technological things that will put you in as a panelist, as some of the ones you've seen, and we'll be promoting you. So it'll just be a little blip on your screen and you'll be a panelist. So just stick around, and then others will probably be joining us just for the happy hour.